Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to the 2021 State of the City Address, live and in person for the first time in 21 months. Woo! Good evening. My name is Krista Ross. I'm CEO at the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. I'll be your MC this evening. And I want to say a special thank you to our piper for this evening, Andy Rogers, who happens to be Mayor Rogers' brother. So thank you, Andy. To begin the evening, I'm going to invite Segum Alan Polchis and Elder Ablosomwis to the podium. He's going to be bringing greetings, and Elder Ablosomwis is going to be performing the opening prayer and smudging. I'd ask you to stand for this and remain standing if you are able. And Elder Ablosomwis, we are offering this tobacco to you for your prayer and smudging.
Thank you. Thank you. Kolasip kopa, askmit beltnotit kitak migomwavalastugweg. Instead of the smudging, because there is a rule where when we have alcohol in the building, the medicine isn't brought in. This is our smudge. So what I'll ask you to do when we sit back down is to take a drink of water. And remember how our emotions, all of them are joined together, and together we can heal. What I want to do is I wanted to show you our December drum. I do 13 moon teachings, and the 13 moon teachings, this is actually what we call Kchigizos, the sacred moon of December, because of the winter solstice that's coming. On it, you see the wolves, and the wolves are our teachers, our four-legged teachers, that tell us about the ceremony of forgiveness. Forgiveness means we ask each other before the new year comes, forgive me, neighbor, if I have offended you in actions or words, so that when the new year comes, we walk in peace and friendship, so that we can show the next generation what forgiveness looks like in its natural beauty. That's what this symbolizes. The white feather, I put it specifically for our Mayor, Kate, because I am so excited for her leadership. And we've been waiting a long time for a female leadership. No offense, males. I knew the other two mayors, worked well with them, but I know this is going to be an amazing year working with another woman. So the white feather symbolizes healing. The white feather symbolizes the white snow that's coming, that actually came here today. And we always think of that snow as a blessing. And so it's just the blanket on our Earth Mother who needs her rest. As a reminder to each and every one of us, we need our rest for this season too, so that we can come out in the spring with the blooming and the blossoming and all of the good medicines that we've been able to be gifted with family, friends, community, and city. So I'm just going to sing the Wolastok song. I will sing it in my language first, then I'm going to sing it in French, and then I'm going to sing it in English, just to show how beautiful this province is when all three languages are heard. Ni this heartbeat of this drum beat in each and every one of us as we stand strong in solidarity together to make sure that we protect each other against all of the things that are attacking us right now. Waliwan, Sagam.
Thank you, Waliwan. Thank you. You can be seated now, Waliwan. Thank you, Waliwan Elder Ablossimus. It's always so nice to hear the gifts of our Creator, especially the drum that represents the mother's heartbeats, that each and every one of us are blessed to be here today because of our moms and our dads. I want to acknowledge all the elders that are in the room that always bring great wisdom to any table, especially this table. I want to, of course, acknowledge the mayor, Mayor Kate. I want to thank you, Waliwan, for having me and the elder. I want to, of course, acknowledge all the city councilors that are here this evening. You are taking a step forward on your leadership for this great territory that we're on. We are gathered on unsurrendered and unceded Wolastoqey territory. A territory that our Creator has left many gifts. And tonight, one of those gifts is a relationship. I want to say Waliwan Mayor Kate and the members of the Fredericton City Council, as I mentioned, for inviting us here today. We are here at the beautiful Crown Plaza, situated on the banks of the beautiful Wolastoq, sometimes called the St. John River, but we'll get that fixed very shortly. You know, for those of you that may not be familiar with our Wolastoqey story, there's tons of opportunities to do that just by listening and walking along that beautiful river. That river used to bring very bountiful goods and medicines and good fish to that river, but no longer. Here we are in the 21st century, and it's the first time that St. Mary's First Nation's been invited to this particular event. And I'm very honored to be here tonight. So again, Mayor Kate and Council, thank you for having me. On behalf of my council at St. Mary's First Nation and myself and the citizens of our great community, you know, we share a very, very precious thing, and that's land. All of us here together. You know, Fredericton is a very unique town, a very unique city. It has lots of character, it has lots of energy, and it has lots of good people, just like every single one of you that are sitting in this audience tonight, because you all play a part on what's going to be happening, of course, moving forward. And we're really, really excited to be a part of it. Sedungsis is developing a great working relationship with you all. And I want to keep growing that relationship and personally thank you for your support and recognition on the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation in September. Truly, we do appreciate it, Fredericton and Frederictonians, for sharing that with us. And we're all walking with us on that healing path. And that's where we are. We're in this together. And one of my many important steps forward, reconciliation with the Indigenous people, and send a powerful message to other levels of government that might need a solid nudge, if you know what I mean. 12 of the 94 calls to action made by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission impact municipal governments. And those calls range from ensuring our youth can access municipal programs and services, to educate workers and their families on the legacy of residential schools. Our communities are very connected. So it means a lot to have a municipal government that is willing to collaborate on projects and work together towards making a community as healthy and vibrant as it can be on both sides of the river, the north and south. I particularly am a fan of the North because, of course, my community is on Fredericton North Side. A little bit of fun fact for Fredericton of St. Mary's Sedunxis. Of course, I've got about 1,300 members that live in that community. I've got a band membership of 2,070 people. Yes, that's a lot of people to manage, and of course, working with them and collaborating on our culture, on our language, and of course, our identity. All of us in this room come from a particular identity or culture, and I know that every single one of you are proud of that, and I don't blame you because I'm proud to be a Two-Spirited Wolastoq Way man. We have a lot in common, and it remains inclusive and diverse. And I can tell you, the city of Fredericton is one heck of a diverse town. I feel welcome in your community, and I hope that you all feel welcome in mine. I always state that Fredericton is a suburb of St. Mary's First Nation. Isn't that correct there, Walter Brown? Walter Brown, I want to acknowledge you in the audience this evening. You've mentored me into a role that I'm standing here today, and I'm proud that I was able to work with you in this decade. So thank you very much, and thanks for your past leadership as the mayor, of course, of this great town, or this city of Fredericton. So just wanted to acknowledge you, Walter. As the chief of Sedunxis, I am thrilled to have the municipal government that is willing to work with us and accomplish our common goals. I hope to continue sharing the same path forward in the years to come. I welcome everyone to take a trip to our community, come see the Festival of Lights, maybe pick up some Christmas gift cards at Sacred Arts, or of course come to our restaurant, the Wolastoq Wharf. We all know that's one of Northside's famous restaurants and known to be one of the best restaurants in the town of Fredericton. And we make pride because we take pride in our businesses. We take pride in our community, just like every single one of you take pride in the work that you do and the business that you put forth and the people that we employ in this town or this village or this territory for that matter. But again, on behalf of my council, myself, and my family to yours, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. My language, you say, Wuli Nipaimian, and I want to thank you again for the invitation, Madam Mayor, and to your family, Wuli Nipaimian. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll even enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much to Elder Ablasamwis and to Segum Polchis. We very much appreciate you being here, sharing this evening with us, and sharing your wisdom with us. We appreciate that. At this time, I'm going to invite Jenny Paul to the stage to sing O Canada, and I'd ask you to rise for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons' command, Walita Haswagen, no me tunen, Ali speak we Latin gwas and walking, Nagagadu gade, de plus brillant espoir, et ta valeur deux fois trempée protégera nos foyers et nos doigts. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was absolutely beautiful. I am so very excited to welcome everyone to our first major in-person live event in 21 months since the beginning of the pandemic, making this an important event in our chamber calendar. It's an opportunity at the State of the City for our members to be informed about the challenges, the successes, and what we can expect in the coming year with our municipality. Of course, speaking of firsts, it's also the first State of the City address for Mayor Rogers, and I know we're looking forward to learning about the goals that she and council, along with their team of city employees, have put in place for the upcoming year and beyond. We have many members of City Council and senior staff in attendance, and we thank each of them for attending, along with other dignitaries this evening. I do want to introduce you to this evening's head table guests, and I'll ask you to hold your applause until the end. First of all, Mayor Kate Rogers, her husband, Michael Wolf, her daughter, Eliza Wolf. Unfortunately, the mayor's other daughter, Iris, was not able to attend tonight, but I know she's thinking about us. Mayor Rogers' mother, Elizabeth Rogers, the mayor's brother, and of course our piper for this evening, Andy Rogers, Chief of St. Mary's First Nations, SAGM Chief Alan Polchis, Elder Oblosomwis, Dr. Imelda Purley, Jeff Saunders, President of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, and from this evening's platinum sponsor, John Blackmore with Hotspot Parking, and myself, Krista Ross, CEO of the Fredericton Chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, your head table. We have many distinguished guests with us this evening, but I especially want to welcome those from the City of Fredericton. We have Deputy Mayor Councillor Greg Erickson, Councillor Margot Shepherd, Councillor Bruce Grandy, Councillor Jocelyn Pike, Councillor Stephen Hicks, Councillor Eric McGarity, Councillor Kevin Dara, Councillor Cassandra Blackmore, Councillor Jason Lejeune, Councillor Henry Maillet. And if I've missed anybody, please accept my apologies. On behalf of the Chamber, I do want to acknowledge the generosity of many very special Chamber members who sponsored tonight's event. Many of them are here with us, and I want to express thanks for their continued support to the Chamber and to the community. First of all, our platinum sponsor, Hotspot Parking. I'd like to thank our gold sponsors, Elliott McRae Hill and Encore. A special thank you to our silver sponsors, Gauguin Architecture, Ignite Fredericton, and RBC. Our broadcast sponsor for this evening, Rogers TV. Our bronze sponsors for this evening are Advocate Printing, Brunswick Financial, The Daily Gleaner, Kears Marketing Group, and Rob Blanchard Photography. Thank you. I'd also like to point out a very special table in the room. We're calling it the City of Fredericton Leaders Table, and I'd like to thank the sponsor of this table, the Real Estate Board of Fredericton. Today at that table, we have past Mayor Bud Bird and past Mayor Walter Brown. We have David Kuhn, MLA, Fredericton South, and leader of the Green Party of New Brunswick. I welcome Fire Chief Dwayne Killingback and Deputy Fire Chief Nina McCarthy. Deputy Police Chief Martin Gaudette. And from our sponsors of that table, the Real Estate Board of Fredericton area, we have Michelle Roy, who's the president, and Michelle Morris, the vice president of the Real Estate Board of Fredericton area. It's my pleasure at this time to call upon our gold sponsor, Elliott McRae Hill, and I'd like to call up Ima Hajizadeh to say a few words on behalf of the firm.
Thank you, Krista. Good evening and welcome to the 2021 State of the City Address. My name is Ema Hajizadeh and I'm a lawyer with Elliott McRae Hill, who is proud to be a gold sponsor of tonight's State of the City Address. It's wonderful to gather in person again, a luxury and a privilege that has not been granted to us since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Elliott McRae Hill has been a long-standing supporter of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce and the State of the City Address. With the election this last year, and there being a new mayor and council, we look forward to the opportunity to learn about the City of Fredericton's direction in these exciting and challenging times. Once again, welcome to this year's State of the City Address. We thank the Chamber for organizing this event, and we hope you enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ema. And now I invite you to enjoy a video from our other gold sponsor, Encore.
Transformation is powerful. It inspires new ways of thinking, sparks original solutions, and revolutionizes the status quo. A family of leading brands transforming into the most innovative experience company in the world. We are a global event production company powered by creatives, innovators, and experts sharing a common goal to create immersive, in-person, hybrid, and virtual experiences. Events that connect and inspire. Because when people come together, ideas take root, relationships are built, real change happens. Together, we have the power to transform outcomes and business for our clients. Together, we have the people, solutions, and expertise to exceed expectations. Together, we deliver events that transform.
Thanks very much to the team at Encore for our AV this evening and your sponsorship. And I now have the pleasure of introducing the City of Fredericton's newest Poet Laureate, Jordan Trethaway. Jordan's going to read an original poem composed especially for this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Mayor Rogers and Council for inviting me to wax philosophically tonight on the idea of Fredericton becoming a caring city. Besides being a writer, I'm a husband, father, homeowner, coach, and advocate. As you might imagine, I have concerns. Speed bumps in a caring city. We're busy, absorbed in our own problems without answers. No time to look up and discover others suffer the same. Privilege provides us the luxury to complain. A zero-sum use of time ranting and raving about simple circular traffic patterns, spewing vitriol over public art installations, added to enrich the drudgery of the day-to-day capitalist zombie commute. Heads down, we try to maintain livable wages in step with a rapacious inflation rate. We earn the pay of our fathers, yet provide less. Ask a stay-at-home parent by choice, if you can find one. Heads down, we dismiss well-rounded education as superfluous, believing learning is no more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. Passively, we permit and defend future leader sons and daughters to parade in poverty clothes of other cultures for school photo posterity. The rich cultural tapestry ripping apart at patchwork seams. Heads down, we invite refugees to begin again, to diversify our city and economy, yet offer them decrepit shelter no better than camps fled at supply and demand prices greater than subsidies given. Cries for help in different tongues fall on deaf resettlement ears, leave them looking further west. Wrapped in our choice to ignore social responsibility, we flout government and medical requests to come together, prevent unnecessary harm to all. They infringe on the fashionable decision to be coddled with misinformation. The every man for himself mantra is sexy while you're on top. But captains of corporations whistle a different tune when tides turn and they swim in panic toward the social safety net. Without fear of awkward moments of misunderstanding, we discover pain diminishes. Power multiplies in numbers among the collective concerned. It is possible to reach out, burst secular bubbles to care when neighbors are forced to choose between roof and food. We can't just be in this together when it's convenient. It will feel weird, at first, to care. Should we prefer to remain comfortable, remember what our fathers said. Don't come crying when you get hurt. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jordan. You made us think, you inspired us, and you gave us some chuckles as well. So thank you very much for that. It was a great addition to our evening. It's been a great pleasure being your MC this evening, and I want to thank you for your attention, and I just want to thank you for coming out tonight again. What a great opportunity to get together that we haven't had in such a long time, and it's great to see so many of our members from the business community, the not-for-profit community, and government leaders as well. It's just great to see everyone out again. At this time, I'm going to introduce our platinum sponsor, Hotspot Parking, and John Blackmore is going to come up to the stage to speak and introduce the guest of honor. After she speaks, our president, Jeff Saunders, is going to be thanking her. So this is my last time to speak to you from the podium. So again, thanks for coming this evening. And at this time, I welcome John Blackmore to the podium.
Thank you, Krista. It's a pleasure to be here. How's everyone doing tonight? Good? Yeah? We got a little extra support from the hotspot table there. I did not pay them. That's payroll's job. But yeah, let's get started here. Has anyone else been wondering where you would be right now if the pandemic didn't happen? Goodness, a couple nods. I know the conversations I've had. People are there. I know on a personal level, I wouldn't even be standing up here in front of you tonight without that. Now, mainly because the event was originally scheduled for October 7th, but you get my point. The pandemic has changed us all in a lot of ways. It's changed the way we do business. It's changed the way we interact with each other. And maybe it's even changed the way we see ourselves. But change is not inherently bad, though. Change brings challenges, but if we look hard enough, it gives us the opportunity to grow. And change, if I were to sit down with anyone here tonight, each and every one of you would have a story of what you had to change in order to still be here tonight. Being a representative of your business, or being a representative of a business. But since that might take more than 5 minutes, I'm going to tell Hotspot's story. So what do you do if you're a parking company that isn't going to have any parkers? That's the question we were asking ourselves in December 2019. Seems like ages ago. I know that it feels that way. Well, we did what most people did. We took stock of our situation. What were the potential impacts? First, obviously, we knew the number of parkers was going to go way down. In the end, most cities, including this one, did the compassionate thing and stopped collecting parking revenue altogether, and it was the right thing to do. Second, there was going to be no new people signing up for the parking app, as there was no longer a driving factor. And finally, things were about to get very quiet. That last point was key for us. We had gained a whole bunch of time. We had our silver lining, and so what were we going to do with it? For Hotspot, that meant focusing on creating new products and looking for problems that needed solving. During the downtime, we focused on product development, we planned our next steps, and as parking started to come back online, we realized that there was a very big need to provide contactless payment solutions. With time, another silver lining became apparent. Digital payments had become the standard overnight. People had put in the effort to learn how to use our parking app, and they could see the benefits, and they were not the only ones that noticed. Various municipalities saw this as an opportunity to drop expensive pay stations in favor of implementing parking collection at a fraction of the startup cost. We had survived, and we're still in it, but we successfully found revenue streams by evolving to provide a unique solution to a widespread problem. Now, I'm not saying that the pandemic hasn't impacted us, but I am saying that we took the opportunity to make a change for the better, and when I look out at all of you, I know that we're not alone in that. We've all changed for the better. Now, the next person I'm going to introduce to you is no stranger to change. She is, in fact, directly responsible for change right here in Fredericton. In May 2021, Mayor Kate Rogers brought about change by becoming Fredericton's first female mayor. This feat was the culmination of 9 years as a city councillor in service to the people of Fredericton. And I don't know if you know this, but she did it during a pandemic. With a master's in political science, Mayor Kate Rogers has honed her leadership skills in the nonprofit sector. She is the past executive director of the Fredericton Foundation and the Charlotte Street Arts Center, to name a few. Her journey as a city council member began in May of 2012, where during her first term, she served as chair of both the Community Services Committee and the Arts and Cultural Committee. She was a member of both the Development Committee, Finance and Administration Committee, and she was the council representative for the Planning Advisory Committee, the Preservation Review Board, and Downtown Fredericton. In her second consecutive term, while serving as deputy mayor, she chaired the Governance of Civic Engagement Committee while serving as the city representative on RSC 11. She was also the vice chair of the Mobility Committee, as well as a member of both the Livable Community Committee and the Economic Vitality Committee. During this time, she also chaired the city's Affordable Housing Committee and the city's Arts and Cultural Center Advisory Committee. That is a long string of accomplishments and committees and endless hours of work on behalf of everyone sitting in this room today and all the people in Fredericton. And she did this all while raising a beautiful family in the city she loves and has committed her life to. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Her Worship, Mayor Kate Rogers, to the podium for the State of the City address. Mayor Rogers.
Wow, well, that's a great way to start. That feels very good. Thank you very much. I have to say, John, when you were saying all that, and I just looked at my mom, and we both had a little tear in our eye. And what I thought of most of all was, Mom, all of those activities that you took me to when I was a kid, that seeded this spirit of community leadership. And I think probably all of you have a similar story. Good evening, everyone. Klasi Kulpen, bienvenue, welcome. I am so pleased to be here this evening to present my first State of the City address. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Your presence demonstrates how much you care about our city and its future. It has been a whirlwind of activity since the municipal election in May. There is lots going on, and a theme is definitely emerging. We are undoubtedly a growing city with amazing attributes, but also we are experiencing the challenges that come with growth. How we address this new reality is our topic for this evening. Growing our city with care is an aspiration I hope we can all pursue together. Before I proceed further, I have many thank yous to extend. First of all, thank you to the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. Yes. This is no small feat. It is particularly precarious to organize a public event of this magnitude during a pandemic, and I am most appreciative. It was a lot of work. Thank you. I also want to take a few minutes just to recognize a few people who are in the room. And, you know, whenever we do these recognitions, sometimes I choose not to do them because I think that you're all important, and I truly mean that. However, there are some that I feel a need to recognize because they're real partners in much of the work that we're doing in this city. First of all, I want to thank Ablasimus and Sakumpolchis for being with me tonight, being here with all of us. It means the world to me to have your presence. Thank you for being here to offer the blessing and to offer the land acknowledgement and to share words on behalf of your community, St. Mary's First Nation. I'm privileged that you're here. It's a first, we're sharing first together. And I feel we're on a journey together. And this is one stop along many along the way. So thank you for being here this evening. I'd like to recognize our MLA for Fredericton South, David Kuhn. Former mayors, we have two former mayors with us this evening, Bud Bird and Walter Brown. Thank you for joining us. I'd also like to acknowledge Elbridge Wilkins, who passed away on June 24th, 2021. He also was a mayor of our city that served for many years during my youth, and a name I remember well. I'd like to recognize Fredericton Chamber of Commerce President Jeff Saunders and CEO Krista Ross, Downtown Fredericton, Inc., President Mike Babineau, and General Manager Bruce McCormick. I think you guys are out there someplace. As well as Business Fredericton North General Manager Trina McDonald. We also, with us this evening was Francis McGuire, who's the president of ACOA, and we have Dr. Paul Meserol with us as well from UNB. So thank you all for joining us. I also need to and want to most of all recognize my council colleagues, my wonderful council colleagues who are sitting here throughout the room at various tables. This doesn't happen alone. All the stuff that you're seeing going on in our city, it's thanks to this wonderful group of people who meet on a very regular basis. It's funny, we're all in each other's bubble. Like, I don't know, whatever happens with these new rules next week, I think we're a bubble. But I want to acknowledge my council colleagues, and I also want to acknowledge their partners. Many of them have brought their partners with them this evening, and you know, this is a team effort for sure. I can say it, when you're city councilor or the mayor, every place you go, you're on, people are talking to you, your family's with you, and they're just part of the journey. People call you at home at any time. It's all time. You can look at it two ways. It's time away from your family, or how we choose to look at it in our families. It's an opportunity for them to be part of something, part of our city's governance. But I want to really acknowledge all of you, so thank you. Also, city staff. We have lots of city staff with us this evening, directors and assistant directors, and other city staff who help keep the city running. A very special shout out to my office mates at the CAO Mayor's Office, our CAO Steve Hart, our Deputy CAO Sarah DeGrasse, and our Office Administrator Extraordinaire Angela Duplessis. Yeah, our office has seen a complete turnover. Every person there is new, complete turnover over the past 6 to 8 months. And it's very exciting to be finding our way together. All of us have lots of municipal experience, but what we bring is new perspectives and a new way of approaching the work. I also want to recognize my family who's here sitting with me. Missing is my daughter Iris, our youngest. Iris goes to school at Acadia, and she had a jazz band concert tonight. She's a music student, so she had to play the bass in a jazz band concert, but her heart's here with us and our heart's with her. And also, I want to thank friends who came out tonight. Thank you, friends, and thank you, guests. So with that, I will get going. Everyone asks me how I like being the mayor. Well, I love being the mayor. I find I'm not that into the Your Worship handle. That hasn't really grown on me yet, but I'm, oh, thank you. Yes, it's a running joke in our house. My husband will say, you've been my worship for many years, and now you're everyone else's worship. It's just a little joke we have in the house. This is why he's such a great partner to a mayor. Also, but look, most of all, I'm honored to be your mayor. I truly am honored, and I'm thrilled to be working with council made up of people with a variety of perspectives and skills, experiences, and backgrounds. With all of this, we're taking on the governance of our city. And while each councillor represents a ward and the interests of their ward, we all come together to make decisions for the betterment of our city as a whole. Following the swearing-in ceremony, council got to work. And one of the first things that we did was develop our guiding principles. We committed to being more people-focused, prioritizing regional leadership, building community, maintaining our strong fiscal stewardship, and continuing to be environmentally responsible. And it is in this spirit of these principles that we conduct our work at City Hall with Frederictonians and with our other partners in governance. Before further exploring tonight's theme of growing a city with care, I feel that I want to repeat a message that I shared at the Chamber of Commerce AGM in June. The city and the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, along with other business agencies, have a long and strong relationship. We've worked together on many files in the past, and we will continue that practice. I also want to reiterate that I know and appreciate COVID has been hard for local businesses for the past almost 2 years. And I'm glad that we continued to work together to create Support Fred Local. And the city will continue to support this effort. Like you, I can't wait for brighter times ahead and a return to life that's normal, whatever normal will be. But it will take hard work from all of us, and the city is here to support you in any way that we can. Fredericton businesses are resilient, I know that. And I know once this pandemic is over, businesses will come back stronger than ever. And as always, I encourage our community to support Fred Local. I encourage that always, but especially now, and now as we're heading into the holiday season. So in a sense, the message that I expressed at the AGM in June is consistent with much of what I want to talk about tonight. Growing a city with care can mean many things, but I've decided to capture the essence of care in 3 ways: careful, thoughtful planning and development, care and compassion for those most in need, and finally, care for and pride in our city's prosperity. We often hear that Fredericton is growing, but what does that mean? So as a starting point, our staff work with Statistics Canada to understand census data. When I first joined council in 2012, the population of Fredericton was 57,000 people. Statistics Canada estimates that our population as of July 1st, 2020, was 64,180. International immigration is one of the leading factors for the city's success in attracting an increased share of the region's population growth. And Ignite figures indicate that in 2020, we welcomed 530 newcomers to our city, exceeding a target of 400. And as recent news stories would suggest, there are newcomers waiting to come to Fredericton, but COVID has slowed travel. There are other contributors to our growth, such as people moving to Fredericton from other parts of the province and other parts of the country, specifically Ontario and Alberta. And we welcome all of these residents to our city because they bring new ideas and just new ways of doing things that enrich all aspects of our civic life. With the recent announcements related to local government reform, Fredericton is set to grow by 5,500 more people. And while the changes won't come into effect until 2023, we're excited to welcome new residents from Clarny and Pepper Creek, the Carlisle Road, and Island View. But once they join us, Fredericton's population will be more than 70,000 people. That's a 22% growth in population over the last decade. From a leadership perspective, really from any vantage point, this is significant. And it isn't accidental. We've all been working are all been working pretty hard together to make this happen. So it's with this information as a backdrop that you'll be pleased to know that we have a very in-depth plan to guide the growth. It's not just happening, it's planned for, and I want to share a little bit of our plan with you. We recently adopted a new municipal plan which directs the physical development of the city as well as a growth strategy that provides a clear course on where and how residential and economic growth should occur. The municipal plan includes things like welcoming and supportive, strong, diverse economy, a vibrant downtown and riverfront, green and healthy, as well as sustainable and efficient. Based on the community's preferred growth scenario, the growth strategy envisions a compact, efficient, sustainable city. This will be achieved by creating a more vibrant urban core, walkable neighborhoods with local amenities and enhanced mobility options. The strategy is meant to capitalize on existing infrastructure by favoring infill and supporting areas of the city that are growing. But infill and increased density will change the way that our city and its neighborhoods look and feel. It's going to change, and change is hard. But part of caring about our city's growth requires this type of thoughtful planning. Best practice indicates that infill is the most efficient and environmentally sustainable roadmap for growth. It means people will live closer to amenities, we can deliver services more effectively, commutes will be shorter, therefore we can minimize our carbon footprint. I ask all of you to work with us as these changes unfold, appreciating that a growing city needs to be proactive. And as municipal leaders, you know, we all love Fredericton. So I know you're thinking as all these changes happen, like what's Fredericton going to feel like? Well, I can tell you the good thing is those of us who are making the decisions, we all love Fredericton too. We love its distinct character, and we will do everything that we can to balance growth while maintaining Fredericton's uniqueness. As we grow, our development numbers are climbing. The total value of construction in 2020 was $158 million. During the first half of 2021, the city issued building permits valued at $114 million, compared to just over $52 million in the first half of 2020, so that's over double. While development flourished across these sectors, the residential sector and multi-unit construction in particular has led the way so far this year with a total of $76 million in construction. It's wonderful news, particularly in the residential front, because we know there are some challenges there. However, it's really important that we ensure and encourage and incentivize the right types of developments, the types of developments that respond to Fredericton's housing needs. So, as many of you know, and as I often say, I am a very proud Frederictonian. I was born here, I built my career here. My husband Michael and I chose to make Fredericton our home and raise our family here. I've had a pretty great life in Fredericton, but sadly, not everyone has had the same experience and opportunities, and I think that's unfair. As a parent, I often say I'm only as happy as my least happy child. So all of you who are parents out there, you know exactly what I mean. If one of my girls are troubled, then I am troubled. As a mayor, I extend this same philosophy to our city. I believe Fredericton is only as fortunate as its least fortunate resident. As municipal leaders, we're elected to oversee the city and all its residents. We're elected to take care of everyone, not just the most fortunate or those with influence, but also those who can't afford next month's rent, those who can't afford a car, those who can't afford services that contribute to their health and to their well-being. So, you know, for me, taking care of our residents is just good governance. It's our job to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to be well, and our success should be measured by our ability to deliver upon that opportunity. It is my mission that everyone in Fredericton feels a sense of well-being and belonging, that we design a city filled with compassion, where we take care of our most vulnerable. Of course, the municipal government cannot do this alone. We need effective partnership with other levels of government, with institutions, with Indigenous leaders, local businesses, the not-for-profit sector, as well as residents and community groups. So, as we ponder that, let's consider what's happening in Fredericton. First, there's a housing crisis in Fredericton. It's for real, and it's the most critical issue that our city is facing. According to the city's recent housing needs assessment, Fredericton requires about 2,500 reasonably priced units and 1,500 subsidized units, as well as at least 50 emergency shelter spaces. Meanwhile, Statistics Canada reported earlier this year that rents paid in New Brunswick had risen by 4.8% between March 2020 and March 2021. That's the largest increase across the country, and it will continue to rise as the ramifications of increased property tax assessments are felt by landlords and tenants. I serve as chair of the Affordable Housing Committee, which is made up of representatives from all levels of government, from the residential development community, from the real estate industry, the nonprofit housing sector, and we recognize that affordable means different things for different people. And for that reason, our committee considers the housing spectrum as a whole, as it affects all of our citizens, including our residents that are living rough. According to Fredericton's by name list, at least 159 people are experiencing homelessness in the city right now. Of those, 107 people are chronically homeless, meaning they've been living on the streets for more than 6 months in the past year. The city is doing what we can to support housing initiatives. We recently conducted a housing needs assessment, and we're currently embarking on a housing strategy to guide our activity in this area. To date, we've funded Housing First units, waived development fees for nonprofit housing, created a zoning bylaw for single-room occupancy developments, and rezoned an area in the city for tiny homes project. We supported John Howard Society City Motel to the tune of $900,000, and this project will house approximately 50 people of varying needs. This past summer, the Fredericton Police permitted micro-tent sites across in a few different areas of the city. And while we recognize this is not a long-term solution, the pilot project did connect individuals to reliable resources and kept them safe over the summer. In preparation for winter, the city convened a community working group that has explored using the Small Craft Aquatic Center as a proposed location for an out-of-the-cold shelter, if necessary. Intermingled with homelessness is a desperation for services in mental health and substance abuse disorder. Data collected from the Human Development Council in this past April indicated that of the 54 homeless people that were surveyed, 76% reported having challenges with substance abuse, while 70% reported difficulties with mental health. It's vital that the province develops a coordinated, well-funded approach to find housing for people and to deliver trauma supports to these people. The housing crisis is coupled with inflation, which I know we're all feeling. It causes further cracks in a system, and it creates further vulnerability for residents. We already know from Environics and census data that 30% of Fredericton households make less than $40,000 a year. And for a family of 4, that's below the poverty line. This will only worsen as inflation continues. As a way to advance work on housing, mental health, and other issues related to inclusion in our community, the city recently created an Office of Community Inclusion consisting of a manager and planner, tasked with making connections and ensuring that people are linked to municipal resources. The office addresses issues of homelessness, equity, diversion, inclusion. It just opened up over the summer, and already we're seeing how we're being able to make connections in the community. I know that as good corporate citizens, you also feel the weight of social issues. And I know this because many of you tell me. I understand the impacts that these challenges are having on your business too. I see it. And I also understand the dilemma that you're feeling because you care. I see the work that you do in our community all the time. When I worked at the Fredericton Community Foundation, I mean, it's local businesses who are there establishing funds, trying to help. I see what you're doing, and I see how you're trying to help those in need. But my suggestion to you is this. Let's work together, all of us, in tandem. Let's do it together. And it will look a little bit different. I would say work with the city to advocate for long-term solutions. Support city initiatives that attempt to deal with systemic and structural barriers that keep people from leading their best lives. As business owners, you have an opportunity to approach these societal concerns and effect change collectively. You can all do this together through your BIAs, through the chamber, through other associations, and think of the power of that. Think of the power of this room. A group of business leaders putting their heads together, demanding more on behalf of the most vulnerable in our city. If you want to be part of addressing the housing crisis and chronic homelessness that you see that you're experiencing in your businesses, you're seeing it on the streets, a strategic response to that is to use your collective voice to lobby the provincial and federal governments, who are the policy developers in this area and who play a huge role in funding and supporting affordable housing initiatives. And don't understand the strength of your collective voice. I want to share a story with you. This past summer, downtown Fredericton and participating businesses wrote a letter to Premier Higgs calling on the province to support a new performing arts center in the downtown to generate economic viability and vitality in our downtown. Now let me tell you, the city has reached out on numerous occasions to that office to no avail. We've no response. We don't get any response. Downtown Fredericton writes a letter, and it was through that collective action, that unified business voice, that we did receive a response from the Premier's office. It wasn't exactly the response we were looking for, I have to be honest, but it was still good. It was still good because we knew where we stood. It was a very definitive response. We knew where we stood, and it provided us an opportunity to regroup, to carve out a new path, and we're quite excited. I would say we're all at various levels of government. We're all quite excited about this new path. And that was because of you. I'm looking for DFI. I think you're all back there someplace. That was because of you and because of that considered tactical action. The St. John business community has also relied on the power of its collective voice. Together, business leaders there formed the Business Community Anti-Poverty Initiative, a nonprofit organization dedicated to ending generational poverty in the port city. St. John leaders and stakeholders have said the level of engagement of the St. John business community in the anti-poverty space is unique. It's valued, and it strengthens the credibility and impact of local initiatives. BCAPI, as it's known, has considerable influence and access to key decision makers thanks to its greatest asset, those sitting around the table. Now, to be clear, business leaders in Fredericton are every bit as empathetic as business leaders anyplace else, if not more. But it's just a matter of directing energies in ways that exert influence, and we can do that right here in Fredericton. We have the right people, we have the right attitude, and we can be a catalyst for change. United, strategic effort can create a city where everyone is cared for and where, as leaders, we can say we've come together to develop opportunities for those who are most vulnerable, positioning them to lead better lives. In general, Frederictonians are a humble lot. We don't necessarily brag about our accomplishments. It's something I've noticed. I don't know if it's just our background, but we don't brag. But while we might not necessarily brag, I do feel we are confident. We're a confident city. We have the confidence to set out and achieve great things. We definitely have a can-do spirit that sets us apart, and we totally punch above our weight over and over again. Case in point, I think you're all looking at the curling picture. Case in point, the effort 2 weeks ago by members of the Capital Winter Club to break a Guinness World Record for the longest marathon curling game. A noble effort on its own. But in addition to this goal, like the curlers couldn't just curl that many hours. No, they had to set another goal for themselves. Organizers decided that they wanted to raise funds in support of youth mental health in the greater Fredericton area. In the end, those curlers curled for 120 hours, 8 minutes, and 3 seconds, breaking the record by 15 hours, because they're also super competitive, and they wanted to go extra hours so that no one could come behind them and get the record. So, not only did they do this, they raised more than $200,000 in support of youth mental health services. Right on. But you know, scenarios and successes like this play out all the time in Fredericton, over and over again. We have world-class research that takes place every day at our local universities. Fredericton companies attract people from all over the globe to come and participate in exciting, innovative work that's occurring right here in our capital. The local immigration partnership led by Ignite, it integrates newcomers into our community, enticing them to stay and to make Fredericton their home. Amazing things are happening here all the time, and we need to celebrate that. We need to be proud of that. Let's care enough about our city to remind ourselves of all of our accomplishments. For instance, I'm really proud of our municipality's fiscal position. We've been responsible, and we've set long-term financial plans. We've limited our borrowing, and we've made plans to spend the right money at the right time to replace and add new infrastructure that our city needs and that our community wants. And through this practice, we're able to come to the table with regional, provincial, and federal government partners to build the projects that we need and want. Our focus right now is building a new performing arts center, and I'm excited about the progress that we're making. We're making some good progress, folks, and I'm excited about that. And we're also very pleased to be part of a regional initiative to design and build a new regional aquatics facility. That's an exciting project because it's being initiated by the community. The region is approaching the project together, and it will be led by the Regional Service Commission. Gone are those days of either or. As a capital city, it's appropriate that we have both of those facilities to offer our residents and to offer this area. This place we call home. So you know what? It's okay to care enough about our city to want and demand the very best for it. We have positioned ourselves to make these investments, and for this, we should be proud. Thoughtful planning, development, compassion, and pride. That's how the city of Fredericton and every one of its citizens will have the opportunity to prosper. As I look around this room and see all the different skill sets and all the different talents, I know that we have the right people to make Fredericton the best version of itself. We've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about a lot of different things. So I thought I should offer sort of a Coles Note version, just in case. Although you all seemed quite attentive, I must say. Maybe you don't need the Coles Notes version, but I'm going to give it, just in case. Fredericton is a booming city. It's increasing in population and size. As Frederictonians, we care about what our city grows into. We care enough to make certain that we manage our growth through thoughtful planning and development. We care enough to acknowledge that as Fredericton prospers, many of our residents are not benefiting from that prosperity, and that we must all work together as a community to ensure our least fortunate residents have opportunities to be well. We care enough for our city to have pride in our accomplishments, to be confident in our abilities, and to recognize that as a provincial capital, we are positioned to take advantage of our city's growth for the benefit of all. We are a vibrant, smart, kind city devoted to all our residents. That is Fredericton's brand. That's going to be Fredericton's brand. Vibrant, smart, kind. And together, we can and we will grow our city with care. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Saunders, and I'm the president of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank Krista for being this evening's MC. You did an amazing job, as always. I also want to thank the incredible staff here at the Crown Plaza and our amazing team at the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, especially our new event manager, Jude Curry, for putting on our first in-person event in a very long time. And of course, I'd like to extend a special thank you to Mayor Rogers for delivering your first State of the City address. The pandemic has certainly provided unique context for this event, but it also underscores the need for community partners to work together and help each other achieve mutual goals. The Fredericton Chamber and the City of Fredericton have a great working relationship, and we look forward to continuing this collaboration with your office, the councillors, city staff, on files such as immigration, shopping local, tourism, and of course, economic development. As a token of our appreciation, Madam Mayor, we are making a donation in your name to Under One Sky. So, for those of you that may not be familiar with this organization, Under One Sky is a registered nonprofit organization providing programs and services, education, advocating for, and empowering a healthy and proud Indigenous community. This organization celebrates and embraces all Indigenous peoples and cultures in the spirit of trust, respect, and friendship. So once again, I would also like to thank our sponsors, because we cannot put on this event without you. Our platinum sponsor, Hotspot Parking, our gold sponsors, Elliott McRae Hill and Encore, our silver sponsors, Gauguin Architecture, Ignite Fredericton, and RBC. Broadcast sponsor, Rogers TV. Our bronze sponsors, Advocate Printing, Brunswick Financial, The Daily Gleaner, Kears Marketing Group, and Rob Blanchard Photography. And the City of Fredericton Leaders Table, sponsored by the Real Estate Board of Fredericton Area Incorporated. Lastly, I want to just encourage everyone to support each other and let's just be kind to each other. Individually and collectively, we've been through a lot the last year and a half. We've been worried about getting laid off or making payroll, finding staff. We've lost friends that should be here with us tonight and aren't. We've been separated from loved ones. So if your server at dinner is a little slow, well, at least they showed up for work today. Because I promise you, they are understaffed. And it is not their fault. And if a frontline worker in a retail store asks you to put a mask on when you walk in, they didn't make the rules. They're just trying to do their best. So please just have some empathy and do whatever you can to support local businesses and support each other. And we are going to get through this. So thank you, everyone, and have a great night.